Welcome everyone. Chapter 16 is going to be looking at fiscal policy. Fiscal policy is going to be looking at the government's manipulation of taxes and spending levels. When you look at government, they can create jobs by increasing spending. And you'll notice that the president did this a couple times during the really deep recessions that we had. And when you look at discretionary fiscal policy, it's really aimed at increasing real GDP and employment for an economy. Now, for example, when we do these fiscal policy measures, the government's trying to stimulate your spending. So what would you do if the government increased federal spending? If they mailed you a check right today of $500, what would you do with it? Most people would spend that money, and the money that's being spent is going to create many different implications for our economy. But you'll notice it'll create a lot of spending measures. That's very important. And you want to ensure that we can keep that spending up because many jobs are contingent upon spending. So what is fiscal policy? Fiscal policy is looking at changes in federal taxes and purchases to achieve macro stability. What isn't fiscal policy? Fiscal policy is not looking at actions of the federal government. It's not looking at actions sometimes at state and local governments. It's looking at changes in taxes and government spending. Now we have what's called discretionary fiscal policy, which is looking at the government that's focusing on spending. And what the government does is they evaluate spending levels and they look at what they should do with regard to spending and taxes to influence the economy. Whereas automatic stabilizers are focused on spending and taxes that automatically change along with the business cycles. And these changes will create a lot of stability issues. For example, automatic stabilizer would be like an unemployment check. So when people receive an unemployment check, they're going to automatically spend that money. And it doesn't require any intervention from the government to approve that automatic stabilizer or unemployment check. So here's an overview of spending of the government. If you look at this spending, you'll notice there's been a lot of gaps, and these large spending implications will create a lot of challenges for us. One of the challenges you'll find is a large increase in spending here, and it's been mostly flat. This was during the Great Depression and World War II, and they noticed they had to really push up spending to help influence the economy. You also notice that spending is starting to decrease in terms of the overall purchases of goods and services as a percentage of GDP. However, we're spending more. We're spending more money on different things, but the purchases of goods and services have declined over time. If we look at the expenditures of the economy, you can notice that transfer payments are the largest type of expenditures. Transfer payments are things like Social Security check, unemployment check, other entitlement programs, which is like 47%. Defense spending is 22%. Government spending is 14%. And interest payments on that loan, that's 8%. So there's a large difference you'll notice. Now the money that the government receives, this is the money that they receive to spend money. You'll notice that 37% of the income tax is based on the money that they receive. And now 37% comes from individuals, 40% of the money they receive is from Social Security, 14% is from corporations. But individuals and social insurance will be the two largest components of the money that the government receives, or their revenue. Now, some of the challenges we're facing is these entitlement programs, and one is the Social Security system. Is it a time bomb waiting to happen? And what I mean by that is, when you look at the Social Security system, there's a lot of challenges. And with these challenges, we have to fund the people that are retired right now with people that are working right now. There's a lot of people retired, but there's not enough people to pay for the individuals that are not working right now, or the individuals that are retired. And that's one of the big implications that we're going to see for this chapter. So I hope you enjoyed the analysis of fiscal policy, and I look forward to your effort this week.